right? And I'll never forget Jennifer Hernandez working on Valentine's Day, no date, on the M.E.N.T.O.R application. And it was really nerve-wracking because we didn't know what was going to happen, and we were asking for a lot of money, and we wanted to make sure that our voice was being heard. In a matter of simply less than 1 month, the application was not only approved, but we got every single dollar that was requested. And it comes about because we had an idea and we had a dream. And that dream gets carried on every single year. I come back and I talk to Hermanas and I see Hermanas. And the thing for me is that Hermanas for me is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I say that, I sit here and I said to myself, how can I talk about what I see? What do I see in the future? I see things that are going to be amazing. And I want you guys to think about this. In the year 2050, Latinos are going to be the most dominant minority group, to be the majority in not just the state of California, in the whole USA. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean? We have a greater responsibility now. And what it means for us is that we've got to be prepared for the future, because the future lies here in this room. And it lies with our siblings, and it lies with our cousins, and it lies with the next generation and the generation thereafter. So it means for us to really have to work together. And it means that we're going to have to be there in ways that we never anticipated. And what I love about the Hermanas is I still get requests for letters of recommendation. I will do a letter for you if you need it in the last moment. I'll come on my bike as often as I can. But the most important thing is it's about all of us. It's not about an individual, it's about our collective. And what Hermanas embodies is this collective idea. One Hermana, it doesn't make it. But it's one holding hands with the next, and the next, and the next. And the chain gets wider, our world gets smaller, and our arms stretch out even fuller. So what I'm challenging you all today is to embrace the future, because the future is ours. And we have a greater responsibility, more so now than ever. Back in the day when I was here, in the late 1970s, I was one of what we call a 3% population. 3%. Back in the day, there were no tortillas or avocados. They didn't have salsa, and I kept thinking, how could I eat this food, right? Because it wasn't home. But home has now moved forward with us because our presence is here, and people understand that eating with tortillas is part of not only eating for us as Mexicans or Latinos, but more importantly, because it tastes good. White bread, you know, when I first had my first white bread sandwich, it stuck to the roof of my tongue, and I thought, how do they eat like this? This is terrible with mayonnaise. You know, it just is too much mayonnaise and stuff. But the bottom line is we've changed the way people eat today. That was one small step. What we are now going to do is we're really going to look at how we change the next generation to embrace the changing demographics. And that's the challenge I want all of you to be thinking about. It is a great responsibility to give up your time to get an education. It is a greater responsibility to say, no, I need to study. I want to have this goal. I want to have this dream. That's what happened with the M.E.N.T.O.R program in its inception. It was a bunch of young women coming together to say, I don't want to have this stop here. How do I reach out? How do I make my world smaller by having our arms stretch out wider? That was the basis for our first application, and the fact that it continues is a testament to know that we were right from the very beginning. And we are here today because we need to know about our responsibility. And that responsibility is greater today than ever before. Because we will have the chance to be able to elect our politicians. We will have a voice, and we will be leaders in our communities. And we're talking about, in many ways, communities in crises. The fact that the university is a public institution is an important mark towards our understanding that we get to take our place and our space at the institutions of higher learning. There is no reason for anybody to be afraid of taking that step. Now, sometimes that step is uncertain because you don't know where you're going to end up. Or maybe you have to take a baby step because you don't know where you're going to be able to take that leap. But I promise you, if you work hard, if you think about knowing that future goal is just around the corner, you will find your path. You will find your door. And the hard part is, I want you to be able to open it, and I want you to be able to walk through it. That's the promise that I want you to make to yourselves today. You will have opportunities that our parents have sacrificed for. You are going to have opportunities that our tax dollars have put forward to have education accessible to all of us at all times. And for some of us, it's not just going to be getting an undergraduate degree. It means we're going to even look beyond that. We're going to be looking at law school so we can be federal judges. We're going to be looking at medical school so we can go back to our communities and understand our health issues. We're going to not only be teachers, but we're going to be professors. And we're going to make sure that that idea of history is not through a single lens, but through the understanding of the complications that border and culture raises, specifically here in California. But I promise you, it is only possible if we continue to link our arms together. And in doing so, our world will be smaller. Now, I have to tell you, it's going to be a hard challenge. The world is changing very quickly. China and India are having very well-educated populations, so we've got to be ready for the global economy. We've got to be ready so that we can be participants and not stand still. So the challenge for you is to dream, but to know that your dreams have a wonderful sense of forward thinking and opportunities. The demographics are ours to make. They are happening as we speak. History is unfolding. And I want you to remember that it's not just about your going forward. It's also about the Hermanas and all of us moving together collectively. I was just asked to write a letter of recommendation for M.E.N.T.O.R. She was an Hermana here at UC Santa Barbara. And she said to me she wanted to go to law school. I said, terrific, what do you want to do? She said, well, I want to do public policy. I said, okay. Best program I know about is at UC Irvine. Oh, it's so hard, I don't know if I can get in. It's really, top-notch. I said, Monique, it's a perfect fit. You've got to try. You won't know where you stand unless you try. I just got the phone call last week, and she told me she got accepted. Now, she's waitlisted, but she got in. And I said to her, you've already succeeded. So we need to dream, and we need to dream, and we need people to make sure that if we need a push, if we need to know that we have to reach further, that we'll take that step. And we'll take it knowing that we only fail for not trying. For not trying. Now, if no's the only word she would ever hear, what's the big deal? Did she lose her car? No. Is she out of any money? Maybe $65 for the application fee, but the bottom line is you only fail if you don't try. Now, what happened with Monique's phone call, for me, was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Now, I knew it was good news because she called, and she knows I get home from work around 5:30. I was running late. My husband picked up the call, and he goes, I can't ask you what the news is because I'll kill him. I don't want him to know before me because I've been working with her on these essays. And when she did the call, I sat down and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? There was a grant fellowship at the New York Public Library, and I got afraid. And I figured, oh, I'm not going to apply. Monique's phone call made me think, how can I be telling her one thing and I wasn't even following my own advice? In 24 hours, I made my own application, and it just went out, and I'll know in May whether or not I get it. But it doesn't matter if I get it or not. I did what I needed to do. I stepped forward, and I tried. And it was only by believing in Monique that I realized, what am I doing for me? And you guys are going to be oftentimes in the same position. Sometimes we help our friends more than we forget to help ourselves. It's kind of like we are galletitas, and we stand back and we make sure everybody else gets ahead of the line, and then we're sitting there going, wait a minute, I didn't even get to touch the first rung. So the bottom line is, I know the future is yours to make. I know that if you try, you will not fail. You will only fail if you don't give yourself a chance. So what I'm going to leave you with is the fact that dreams are important, and you have to surround yourselves with people who believe in the same common goals. And the goal is for us to understand the future is ours to make. The world is turning upside down. Where's my place? We only will succeed if we continue to link our arms and our hands and make that world smaller. So I have great faith for the future because the future is here today. Thank you very much.